Opportunity. Loman stays down, ball knocked down. Little roller is beautiful from Will Ashcroft. That is magnificent. Let the good times roll. Here are the Gabba. Chest mark. Rayner picks it up and goes. Shakes them off and lights it up. Does the Rayner man. From the thump down. Feed further forward to Rayner. Again, he parted the seas. Got through a couple. Fed it on. Bailey time. Zach goes whack. Draper with the push off. He's already kicked a goal of the year. Kenny Lawrence has run home. He enticed him and he sliced him again. Things a little differently in this world of football. Ooh. That's a floater. Mark that if he can. Mark by Loman. The seat. Dangerously back. Floater full forward. Charlie!
There you go.
The Brisbane Lions Fancast is back, and the Brisbane Lions are now a game clear in the top four after demolishing Port in the end and securing 7 wins on the trot. Will Ashcroft finishes with another 30-plus for the 6th week in a row. Hugh McCluggage makes a triumphant return to form of sorts, but it does look like we will be in a bit of MRO strife. It is all thanks to Hop on Brew Tours, EB by Hiker, EB by Hiker, and Crisp Marketing. Now, you're probably wondering, why has he said that twice? It's because obviously I slur all of those letters and words together and it sounds like e-bike hire or something like that. EB by Hiker, Hiker Brewing, Manila Street, East Brisbane, and hopefully some exciting news coming up for those guys. We will get to that when we get to our tipping segment. Watch party alert. Boo, boo. Patrick, a big win against Port Adelaide. It was an arm wrestle for a half, a low-scoring arm wrestle. And then before you know it, we are 10 goals up and the game was over.
That's correct. Judging by the commentary, Port were really good all day and they lost by 10 goals. So good for them. Good for you, Dwayne Russell. You go, you little fella, with your milk and your aspirin and Kit Kat Chunkies and whatever the hell else you have. Port Adelaide kind of got the game, on their terms in the first half, and then for a shootout, 7 goals to 3. So I'll take that any day of the week. But yeah, it was interesting at a time where they were getting absolutely tapped up, and then you looked at it and they'd kicked, I think, 2 goals in a half of football at one point in time, and I was just like, cool, they're good, I guess. Like, the Hornet is amazing, but cool.
Yeah.
Good for them. Man, I tell you what, now I don't want to pick on players.
Okay, here we go.
They have some ugly boys in their forward line.
Sure.
Like, that's all I'm going to say. Otherwise, my mum will get annoyed at me.
Oh, I've got an update for you on my mum, by the way.
Okay.
Categorically no to Darcy Wilmot. But...
So your matchmaking did not work?
No. Apparently wouldn't mind a bit of Jimmy Tunstall. So there you go.
Well,
if she had her choice.
Wouldn't mind a bit of Jimmy Tunstall.
Yeah. There you go.
Just let that one breathe for a little bit. Beautiful stuff. We went in unchanged.
We did, and it turns out we're not the only ones that can't figure out who Oscar Allen comes in for.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting statement. But now I'm going to say, what did I say at like kind of the beginning of the year when we were kind of theory crafting all of these, how are we going to cram all these players in? What did I say? And what have I repeated throughout the year?
Honestly, I don't know.
Well, it's good to know that you listen to me, because I listen to me and I listen to you. I said the player not in the team is the most at risk.
Yep.
And I've been repeating that all fucking year.
Even
to the
Bruce.
chagrin of everybody. And how much, not that I'm looking for accolades here, but it's clearly quite true.
Yeah.
That if you're not in the team, something's got to happen to get you in the team. Even if you're Eric Hipwood, even if you're a runner-up Norm Smith medalist, even if you're, this, that, or the other. So, not that, Eric Hipwood's in the team, Oscar Allen, whatever. So I feel vaguely vindicated by that in my own self-serving way, which is nice. So yeah, no changes. Do I think we'll have no changes next week? No.
No. Well, we thought there would be changes this week because we were both resting Zorko, and turns out he was more than fine.
Yeah.
He was more than fine. Like, he's biting off ridiculous kicks on his left.
Zorko's in an interesting spot for me, and everyone is going to be like, "Oh, here we go." But to me, he's getting towards the cliff.
Yeah, but he's been getting towards the cliff for like 6 years. He was brilliant on the weekend.
He was. There were times that there were things where it was like, and I think that now this is getting into a deeper conversation, but I think Zorko being our main gateway in the back half really limits Wilmot. And when Zorko wasn't there, Wilmot had some of his best football and some of the best football out of halfback. So to see Wilmot a little bit limited, I'm like, but there you go. Now, we were probably expecting Reveal to come back in, but I think that they had their kid quite late. So, fair enough.
Have some time with your kid. I mean, I get it. He's 2 kids now. And those first, anyone that's had a kid knows that the first, few weeks, months of having a baby is pretty intense. Like, sleep comes at a premium. Everything. Your whole world is just tipped upside down, and you've suddenly got this little thing that depends on you 24/7. So, sure, he will come back in, and it probably will be for Jimmy Tunstall, who again did some really good things, but then again did some things that you do go, ugh, Jim. He's a strange player. You can tell he's got a really good footy brain, but then sometimes it just won't connect. But other times it will, and his contest work is really good, and yeah, it's just he's a bit of an enigmatic type character, and he's found himself playing 10 odd games this year at least.
You would describe your mother's new boyfriend as an enigma, wouldn't you? So anyway, no changes going in. Port Adelaide brought back Georgiadis and the Hornet.
Yep, and
probably some others. I didn't admittedly look at the Port Adelaide team because to me it was kind of largely inconsequential. Now, everyone will know that I do like Jason Horne-Francis. I think he's one of the best field kicks in the competition. And I'm going to unpopularly say that that performance by him, although it wasn't as flashy as the Chads, I think there was elements to it that made it as important to Port Adelaide as Warner's in more of a sense than Warner's was for Sydney a few weeks ago. Sydney got all the glitz and the glamour, but Hornet was doing it largely on his own.
Yeah.
So well done to that young man. Alir didn't do a whole lot, which was good.
He was pretty good. God, he holds. He holds. He gets away with a lot of Alir. I didn't, strike me dead. Haven't watched a lot of Port Adelaide because my thoughts and feelings on Port Adelaide, especially when they're down the bottom of the ladder, and I can't really care less. But yeah, God, he holds.
Yeah. But he didn't intercept in the way that, we've seen people get a hold of us. And that's probably down to forward structure. But, they spoke, both coaches spoke, and Will Ashcroft spoke at halftime just about, we were probably more so playing Port Adelaide's game. They were trying to force a handballing game and trying to keep the ball kind of in the clinches and not let us dictate the pace. I think at one point in time, we'd taken 8 marks for the game, but 4 of them had been inside 50.
Yeah,
which is a bit of a wild stat. And we were a little bit not great in front of goal initially. So it swung a little bit. We kicked a few goals. Then they kicked, I think, 4 in a row. And then it sort of, that realistically was kind of, in my opinion, where the game sort of sat for a little bit. And then second half was pretty dull.
Yeah.
Did we not respect their contest work? Maybe. But I think on the whole, we were kind of overcommitting, and they were kind of just running through the midfield, and there were signs of that kind of halfback movement that you've been pretty hot on for the better part of this year, and we've been on for a couple of years. So yeah, there were danger signs, But I think it was as much as anything down to us just not having the ball to be able to set up correctly, and we were just getting caught a little bit. But they also were a little bit inaccurate. So, yeah, how was your read on that? Pretty dullard first half.
It was an arm wrestle. Like, it was a low-scoring arm wrestle. It was a grind. Port were moving the ball quite slowly at times as well. And, like, it was hot at the Gabba. Anyone that was there will know just how hot it was, especially on the side of the field I sit on. It just bathed in sun the whole game. It's only if you're over near gate sort of 4, if you're on that gate 4 side, then you're sort of protected from the sun. But then anywhere else is like you're in it all day. We got Gabba attendants bringing around sunscreen and stuff. So you were talking to me off air about the atmosphere and the crowd interaction. I think that did play a lot into it. The fact that it was a slow grind, and everyone's just hot as balls. Everyone was just energy sapped.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what, and I spoke about this last week. I don't know what Fox Footy or whatever are doing with the audio mixing at games, particularly at the Gabba, and particularly to me, it doesn't seem like every game, because you watch other teams play and you're like, yeah, the crowd's pretty rocking and whatever, but it just feels very quiet, and you're getting a lot of umpire communication, which I hate.
Yeah,
I hate. So yeah, the less said about that, the better. It was a pretty, in the first half, I think there was 9 free kicks or something like that. So it's seemed to be a low umpire interference game.
Yep.
It didn't feel that way because you're getting them yelling in your speakers all the time, but that is what it is. So the second half, I think we showed a fair bit of intent. We kind of wrestled the game onto our terms, and then we sort of kicked a couple of quick goals, and then we had the famous 5-minute shootout.
Yes, yeah, we did. Just quickly, if you wanted any indication that Lachie Neale is leaving, it's the fact that he's not starting at any centre bounces, and he's starting on the bench, and Zach Bailey is starting each and every quarter and each and every match in the middle of the ground. So potentially a good sign for the re-signing of Zach Bailey, as we've spoken about. I mean, apparently that announcement was meant to be coming, like, it's just sort of still sitting there, weirdly enough. Like, everyone was resigned to the fact that he was leaving, and then all of a sudden we just get this shot of hope that he's staying, and it's going to happen, like, within the next week or two, and then it sort of died down a little bit. But the way that he's playing, the way that his teammates are getting around him, and the way that he's starting matches in the centre of the field, does all sort of line up to him sticking around, but I guess it's still a little bit of wait and see. But yeah, the new look centre bounce, Will Ashcroft starting up forward with, I think it was Dunkley, Hugh and Zach in the middle, with Draper as first ruck. And we'll obviously have a chat about Sam Draper a little bit later, who clearly took his performance last week personally and decided he was going to make a statement this week. I like it. I like the mix.
It's a little bit more dynamism that we haven't really seen, with then Ashcroft being kind of the first receiver forward of the ball, and then you'd have one of Zorko, Fletcher, or Wilmot creating that overload from the backside. So there is still a little bit of suspectness over who is sweeping at centre bounce and how they are sweeping, because I think sometimes they can get sucked into the ball a little bit and then it's easy out the front. But that will kind of take care of itself. So yeah, another funny thing is that I don't think that there were any centre bounce or clearance goals in the first half by either team, and then it just sort of went bang, 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 bang. Zach Bailey was really good. Like Jace Burgoyne, for a guy that looks like he's made up of like a straw and a bit of wheat, that guy can kick a ball and is very good. And we kind of got away from him. Draper's goal was obviously the highlight of the day, in my opinion.
Yeah, lucky not to get called for running too far, I would have thought. Yeah,
I feel like, yes, in a way, because he probably ran 20 meters, I would say.
Yeah.
But he does take a long time to wind up and kick the ball. So my experience of Auskick or under eights for, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it, he's got to He's got to line up. He's got to wind up. He's got to move his little legs, kick the ball. He's in the action. If you're going to penalise that, you should penalise that Carlton bloke and Ben Brown when they're taking the shots for goal. I know Ben Brown is retired. But do you see that Carlton bloke walk up for 60 metres to kick a goal?
I didn't see that.
Take a shot at goal. It was horrendous. He took a mark inside 50 and walked back to the centre circle for his run-up to take time off the clock. Even his players were telling them that he was taking the piss. And then we just sort of broke the game away. And what I thought was really good is that, on the whole, Port Adelaide basically didn't really kick. They kicked 5 goals, so they did more their tally in the second half. But it wasn't one of those. It wasn't like the Essendon game where they kind of just kicked a whole bunch and we turned off. We showed pretty good intent all the way to the end. Yeah,
we did. Obviously, the other big talking point out of this game is Ty Gallop. He's, the tackle was, it was a hard tackle. It was dump-ish.
Yeah.
But obviously the after actions, grabbing him by the scruff of the back of the neck and then throwing him back into the ground. A lot of people saying, a month missed of footy. Who knows what it's actually going to end up, 1, 2, 3 weeks. I'm sort of, whatever he cops, he probably deserves. It was a stupid thing to do. It did remind me of Tom Lynch on Alex Witherden 5 years ago, which was a $500 fine, by the way. Now, obviously, times have changed. Obviously, Georgiades ran out the game, still had, 4 or 5 shots on goal from stupid free kicks. But I think the thing that's not going to work in Ty's favour is this is his first week back from concussion. So, I don't know.
That's not anyone's responsibility. I'm sorry. Like, if you're worried that a player is coming back from concussion, that's not that cannot be used as evidence.
No, I know.
Because
it doesn't mean
but if that's the case, they shouldn't be playing football. If you're like,
most likely to go straight to tribunal, and I think that will get brought up. Whether it has any effect or not, I don't know.
Do you think it'll go straight to tribunal? I think it'll be, it'll be 1 week.
I don't know.
Can't see it.
I don't know. It's one of those ones that's sort of like the MRO Christensen's going to say, I don't know, you guys deal with it. We'll wait and find out, and by the time everyone's listening to this, we'll know, I guess. But in Fags' post-match, he's sort of alluded to the fact that Dizzy might actually be ready to go, which is strange because I thought he was still at least 2 weeks away.
Well, something's working in terms of the recovery season. But no, I was under the impression that things go to tribunal if they're severe in terms of the impact.
Yeah,
so
I don't strange ones. I don't know. We'll wait and see. If it's 1 week,
to me, I don't
3
really
weeks,
care because as I said off air, like in a heated game, this sort of stuff actually happens a lot. It wasn't great. Georgiades was sort of, I don't know what he's doing on the ground anyway. You've taken a tackle. He's obviously trying to milk something. And Gallop has taken exception to that. There is a helicopter driving. Famously driving overhead. Carr did not have a problem with it. He said, we got a free kick, and that was about right.
We'll see.
Is it something that I would like to see done to any of our blokes? No, but I also would expect our blokes to fight back about it.
Yeah.
To me, that's the sort of stuff that comes out in the wash. So I, as a surprise to nobody, didn't care.
No, that's not going to surprise anyone.
Someone took exception to you.
I got
about this.
And weirdly, an angry message from a Port fan who, I don't know if he's confused us with the Brisbane Lions or someone or some people that have any affiliation with the club. Very unofficial here. He was just letting his thoughts know that he thought Ty Gallop was an unworthy person of playing football.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, good luck to him, Mark. All the best, mate.
Kind of funny that they got Zach Butters traditionally running around.
Yes.
But, here we are. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I think that this is one of those ones that had the media not talked about it, no one would really know about it. So, whatever. Wasn't an on-field report. Let's move on. We belted them fair to say.
Yeah, which is, I guess, a bit of a surprise because Port hasn't been belted this year. They've only had a couple of 30-plus point losses this year, and I think this is actually their biggest loss for the year. So that bodes well for us. With timing our run and things clicking into gear at the right time of year as well. So certainly not a bad way to end things. It didn't look that way at halftime when it was a low-scoring grind, as I said. So Port hasn't conceded 100 points too often either. So yeah, good signs. Good signs.
Yeah, and the defensive intent, and we saw all the carry on in the last quarter, which the lads love, we love, everyone else hates. So it was good. It was really good. And I think it shows that we've kind of, I think that Essendon game and that last quarter against Essendon, they probably were made to realise they let themselves down a little bit in that game.
Yeah.
So I think that was, largely a net positive. And yeah, pretty tight overall.
Good to have Hugh McCluggage back.
Really good.
Close to his best.
He was moving the same way. So we've talked about that. And I think that he's copped an unfair level of criticism in the wider footballing community. People saying that he's had the biggest drop-off of any player in the competition. It's like, Matt Rowell?
Yeah.
Hello?
Well, that whole club's had a massive drop-off.
Yeah, well, the words that I said the other week are aging like fine wine. That could be their peak for the next 10 years. So, but no, McCluggage, we were fully aware, he played a lot of consecutive games. He played a lot of football. He'd never really had any time off, aside from when he first came to the club. There was a little bit of an injury cloud over him. So we didn't know how he was going to recover. He probably didn't know how he was going to recover. And this is all stuff Fagan said in his press conference. So we didn't know how long it would take, not quite like a Zorko or a Gardner that you can just plug them in and they're good to go. So really happy because, he was moving much better. He was tackling hard. He was putting his head over the ball. He was
working his way through
kicking was a lot better. He just looked the way that, if you play every game in a season like that, you're pretty good.
Yeah, well, and I guess that's probably part of the narrative as well. As last year was every game was like that, and we basically had him pegged for winning BNF. It was his career best year, and that was the sort of stuff he was producing week in, week out. And when that sort of doesn't carry on, people are like, "Oh, well, what's happened?" And when you're not really taking notice of the Brisbane Lions, I guess you go, "Hey, my guy that I've got in my fantasy football team was doing very well. Now he's not. Now I'm angry."
You'd think people that are playing fantasy football would have more of a finger on the pulse with, the thing called game time. But here we are. But he's never yes, he did kick 4 goals in a grand final, but he's always been the kind of person that sort of chips away. His averages are really good. It's not the case that he's kicked 7 goals and had 45. It's that is very rare. He's that really consistent 30 and a goal. If you got that, as I said, you got that out of him. Now, I think if anyone was under the impression that Logan Morris cares about the Coleman medal, I'm here to tell you he doesn't care about the Coleman medal.
By dishing it off to Hippie?
By dishing off to Hippie and by not calling for the ball when Charlie Cameron and him were running in at goal.
Yeah.
So I feel like on this show, I talk about things that I've said in the past a lot because neither of us really remember them. But I think I said something along the lines of I don't think we'll ever win a Coleman medal when we win a premiership. Something along those lines a while ago. I still think that rings true. And if you want to look at something cool, my brother sent this through, and this is not the Australian brother. This is the German brother. He sent a list of the Coleman medalists. Top 10 or so, and Logan Morris and Charlie Cameron are both in there. But they are, of that group, 1 and 2 for goal assists.
Yeah, nice.
Your mate, Ben King, second in the Coleman, 2 goal assists.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Logan Morris has 16. So
Yeah, Logan Morris does have 16. Charlie Cameron
will help you sleep.
Cameron has 19.
19. So they must have given him another one, unless that picture was sent midway through the game. But that should help you sleep better at night, buddy.
I tell you who is having a really good couple of months and is also sitting equal 11th on the Coleman is Kai Lohmann. Now, obviously, he's kicked a bunch of goals in the last 6 odd weeks, but he's obviously been hanging out with Cam Rayner because his ability and his want to break tackles over the last couple of years and hit the fend, last couple of weeks, has been very noticeable, and on the weekend, like, extremely noticeable.
He's gotten that proactivity in his game where he's sort of assessing the situation, knowing, and it was really case in point when he took that mark sort of through Aaliyah.
Yeah.
So Aaliyah got first hands to it, and he was under no, dishonesty about that wasn't a mark. So he just went on with it. The thing that I like about him is that he is the ultimate nerve tonic, where he'll just kick a goal when you're like, we really need to kick a goal. And he just goes back and kicks a goal.
Cam Rayner was good for that yesterday as well. His goals came at really good times.
Important times for sure.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of players that are, humming really well. Zach Bailey, obviously we talked about 3 goals, Rayner 2, Lohmann 3, Morris 3.
Cameron 3, yeah.
Cameron 3, Hipwood got 1, probably should have got 2. McKenna was quiet, but I don't know if maybe you could see more that he had a role that he was fulfilling more so.
He was running with a player. I can't recall who it was, but he was running with someone and sort of keeping them accountable.
Their young fella, Lai, number 43, Josh Lai. He's a pretty good little player.
Yeah.
I think he hasn't got a Rising Star nomination as of yet, but I can see that happening at some point in the future. He seems like a handy little player. Kind of has that weird Bodie Yulin, Starcevic sort of profile early on in his career, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he goes. Anyone else that sort of took your fancy?
Not so much, and just a really good team effort. I was really intrigued because I've been noticing it the last couple of weeks, just the centre bounce, well, not bounce, but centre stoppage makeup and how that sort of evolved over the last 5 or 6 weeks since the bye and how it sort of looks for our future. So yeah, very happy with how it all went down, and we move on. Carlton next week.
Indeed. Any words on Josh Dunkley? Just he was sort of given the job on Horne-Francis, and then it sort of.
I mean, he tried all day as he always does, and he was pretty good offensively as well. So he had his moments. Like, he still astounds me as, a midfielder. His overhead marking ability is just outrageous, especially like contested mark too.
Yeah. What did you think? What did you think of his goal assist?
It's funny because we're in the stands and I'm chatting to the people I normally sit next to because he's lining up for goal and everyone's sort of, I don't know, a little on edge because like, where's this going to go? Famously, Josh Dunkley set shots. But then the words came from my mouth. He's actually been pretty good the last couple of weeks. Like, he obviously drained that goal from 50. I can't remember who it was against. Might have been against the Bombers. And then he had a really good field kick last week to set up a goal as well against the Eagles. And I thought maybe he's actually been doing a little bit of like concentrated work on it. And then that happened and we're like, there we go. That's Josh Dunkley. And everyone had a laugh. Everyone in the stadium had a laugh.
I don't think you could do that if you tried.
Oh,
I have no idea how you can kick a football like that. Like, I don't understand. It makes no sense anatomically, physically, thermodynamically. Like, none of it makes any sense. I know that you can kick a soccer ball like that if you knuckle them and ankle your foot, and that's notoriously really hard to do.
It was a fun little kick.
Watched Juninho kick a lot of free kicks. But unbelievable. Couldn't do it if you tried.
No.
And fell into Kai Lohmann's lap. Now, allegedly, he doesn't get a goal assist for that because it was a set shot.
Oh, really?
Which I think is a great misnomer. And to me, that does lead that there is avenues to pull time back if people are going to waste time having set shots for goal. But because clearly it's a different state of play.
Yeah.
But I don't care. It was beautiful. Levi Ashcroft was like serviceable.
Yeah.
He provides such a good pivot at times where you're looking for someone to link play, and I think he's just the sort of player that at some point, if he's given more license, he can become a really, really good player. But there's just not that room for him to do it in this team at the moment. So he is one that, you hold on to and you wait and see in 3 years' time. So did you want to do some votes?
Yeah, let's do some votes. Thanks to hoponbrewtours.com.au. Book yourself a half for a full day tour. Father's Day coming up in 6 odd weeks. Great present. Get yourself a voucher at hoponbrewtours.com.au. For me, Bailey gets my 3 this week. Hugh McCluggage the 2 simply for his return to form, and Zorko with the 1. Lots of players worthy of votes. Like Will, again, probably could have got some votes. Lockie was all right. Kai, again, probably could have snuck a vote or 2. But yeah, for those 3 for me.
Beautiful. I'm going to do mine with dice rolls because
sure
I can't split Bailey, Ashcroft, and McCluggage. So we see. Okay. Ooh, hello. Oh, what? I've rolled 2 6s. That's not going to help. Okay, so we've got McCluggage with 3, Bailey with 2, and Will Ashcroft with 1.
Okay. Not mad about that. Will is his last 6 weeks, obviously 30+ touches, a huge amount of score involvements. He's hitting the scoreboard himself as well. Clearances, he's putting it together at the right time after a fairly quiet start to the year. He had that leg strap for such a long time for the first half. That's gone. Obviously, he's still got a little bit of pain with that elbow because that's, still quite heavily strapped, but his form has been ridiculous.
What are you talking about? The elbow strapping is all style. Haven't you seen? It's caught onto the Dacoses doing it now.
Right.
First it was Nick and then it was Josh. And it's like, stop stealing. Like, you need to get that trademarked, Will Ashcroft. So, yes, we've got a lot of what we thought was sore boys not looking quite as sore.
Yep.
Someone that is looking quite sore, Logan Morris, but he looked less sore as the game went on. So maybe this is one of those things that they were all correct with their active recovery, keep mobile to reduce swelling. It's like, okay, just do it on the field.
Yeah, so he had a corky. He did spend a fair amount of time on the bench as well. And I think same with Hugh. And if you've watched First Crack, I don't know how true it is. They're saying sort of all right, when you've got the game in the bag, it's probably a good time at this time of year to rest those players that you think probably need a little bit of rest in game and manage them as you're leading towards finals. Whether that is what we're doing, I don't know. They then went on to say Nick Dacos.
Just can I ask a question? Who's they?
You know who that is.
Yeah, but which one of them?
My mate David King.
Famously the man who's never coached.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway.
Did you hear what he said at halftime of the Adelaide and Collingwood game?
No.
It was something along the lines of, we're watching the emergence of the new power in football. In talking about Adelaide.
Sure.
Men against boys stuff.
Went on to bottle it.
Just absolute choke. And I could not be... yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to tipping.
All right, well, in the meantime, let's have a quick chat about any changes that we think might be happening for Carlton. Obviously, Ty Gallop will probably miss. Let's work under the assumption that he is missing some football and that, I don't know, Fake saying Darcy Gardner should be available is throwing me a little bit. I guess we could probably afford to just roll Harrison Froggy against Carlton with Mackay probably still being out as well.
He'd do a meniscus or MCL or something.
Yeah, something like that. I think he was missing.
Was that thing that looked like nothing happened, and then your mate David King was like, he's a wuss, and then doubled down on it, and then tripled down on it. So,
Well, because he's the number one...
Company you keep, my friend. Company you keep.
He's the number one of players that come off saying they're injured and then end up coming back on or something like
that. Max King, hello.
Yeah, well, yeah. But he genuinely injures himself.
Well, maybe.
So looking at
Wasn't Ross Lyon going on about him being like, well, he just doesn't have confidence in himself.
Yeah.
But let's not.
Looking at Carlton's lineup, they didn't have a huge amount of, like, Mitch McGovern can obviously play forward. They had Nick Haynes. Well, I didn't watch a huge amount of this game. Yeah, Kemp. Lewis Young's in there as well. So they've got, we could probably get away with Froggy and Harris and then bringing in a Bruce or Oscar and finding a way to crowbar him in the team that way.
Crowbar?
What do you reckon? Or do you bring in a like for like?
Well, I think Bruce will come in for Tunstall.
Yeah.
I think they're just sort of waiting for that to happen, and then there's the element. If there's any doubt over Gardner, yeah, they probably do go with 2 down the back, like we did at Cardinia Park last year, where we went a little bit smaller. The price is right, as you say, with that, and you could just be rolling. I mean, under the roof at Marvel, is there a better time to bring a key forward back in?
I wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah, but then that does lead to an issue of, like, the week later, assuming Gallop is not there next week and comes back to, whenever.
Yeah.
Then who are you because that is the exception to my rule. You're not rolling with fewer tall backs.
No, especially against Hawthorn, who, obviously have got a very tall forward line. So that's a problem. That's a can we can kick down the road for a week. I hate the idea of just bringing in Oscar for Ty this week, and then any sort of other changes like Bruce for Jimmy, as you say. Or the other option is if Darcy's not ready, then it's, do you give Tom Duday a game? Here you go, mate. Here's one last AFL game.
No, you don't. You don't.
Or
I'm sorry.
The other option is Easy or Joyce.
No.
So
I think you've nailed it. I think it's like, if you're going to bring someone else in, just bring Oscar Allen in and live by that sword and die by that sword if you're going to do that. Because, like, I'm sorry, I really like those guys that you listed, but they're not necessarily moving the needle in the right way.
And they're not playing finals.
We need to move the needle. Yeah. Like, in a perfect world, they're not. They might, and we've seen that, but we would ideally not want them to.
Yeah.
That's a funny little way of looking at it.
No, I get it. And Oscar Allen is probably, out of all those players, most likely to play in September. So get him in.
Yeah. It's going to be funny when Michael Christian just leaves that one through the keeper, gallops in, and we are stuck not knowing what to do.
Well, then that's another problem for match committee this week.
God, the hardest job in the world.
The Twos, though, had a big win against North. Will McLaughlin.
Wild scenes.
Yes.
Wild scenes in the Twos.
A high scoring game. Yeah.
And I think it was 14 goals to 13 straight.
Well, 3 quarters and North Melbourne could not miss 16 goals straight at 3-quarter time. That's ridiculous. That's got to be some sort of record. Almost 100 points without bloody missing.
Yeah. I was astounded. Yes, Will McLaughlin with 8 goals.
Yeah. Ridiculous stuff. Annabelle, very good.
Annabelle, good, 30, 34. And I understand the want for people to get him in the team, but let's just keep in mind he's coming in round 1 next year when El Neal is no longer there, so he will just slot straight in, and we need to be prepared for that. And I think that's probably why they allowed him to take proper time off with his shoulder this year. So I can't see a world where he breaks into the team this year, but next year he will be there and he will virtually not come out of the team ever.
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially virtually.
Well, I don't know. Like, injuries happen, mate, whether you like it or not.
That's why I'm saying virtually, not literally.
Couple of Academy boys, though, getting a game as well. Caleb Murray and, of course, Cooper Hodge, who had a good game. Yeah, two goals for him. couple of clearances, 16 touches. That's fine. Cody Curtin has, I'm not going to say he's regressed, but for a bloke that was playing AFL and then sort of went back to the VFL, lit it up, came back, he's just sort of floundered since.
It could be an element of there now are more avenues to goal with some of the bigger bodies, because Joyce had been playing forward a little bit as well before Oscar Allen came back.
And Beacon's hitting the scoreboard quite a bit.
Yeah, so it looks like maybe earlier on in the season, and as you see with teams that are kind of struggling at any level, is he was kind of the only avenue to goal, so he's probably getting fire hosed a fair bit of the ball.
He's quite often travelling emergency as well, so they might hold him back for half a game just in case.
That's a good shout too, yeah. So allegedly Kadeen Coleman was withdrawn with the possibility to play ones.
Yep.
So
I think they were probably just keeping a close eye on Zorko in that hamstring.
Yep. Yeah, and there's a lot of avenues. I mean, here's another one that, like, man, I want him in the team, but I don't know how to get him in the team.
I know. It's the same for Link McCarthy as well. It's a real shame that both of those guys, 2 years out of the system at the exact wrong time, they get their bodies right, and it's just, like, too hard to crack back into the team.
Yep, pretty much.
On the other hand, Connor McKenna's done it and is basically undroppable at this point as well.
He was like, I wasn't even injured. I was just playing with horses.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. Quickly, still on Brisbane Lions footy, the girls had their first competitive hit out as well, pre-season match against Cats. Got the job done there as well, 3 points. Cats got off to a huge start, though. Before we sort of clicked into gear and brought the margin back. A couple of goals each to Ruby Spark, who's continuing her good form from last season. Dax hit the scoreboard a couple of times as well for some, from early on shots. So, the girls get a good win. Izzy Dawes, my favourite, is killing it again. So, yeah. And then there's the international game coming up on the 1st of August, I think. I think it's the 1st of August for that game. Where
Will we get a Chris Johnson reincarnate? I can only hope so.
I wouldn't have thought so. Ola O'Dwyer has been named Irish captain, which is great for her. So that'll be great. Unfortunately, it's just at some sort of low-tier oval when they probably could have afforded to have this at the SCG. But
Croke Park. Fly him over to Croke Park.
That's going to be fun to watch. That's going to be really fun to watch. I think it'll be a hot contest, that one.
Fantastic.
All right, let's get to tipping. Thanks to EB by Hiker, who celebrated their second birthday over the weekend as well. Launched a brand new beer. So huge congrats to those guys. And I've had a chat to Phil. Going to try and work something out for the last round of this year, some sort of watch party for the Collingwood game. So round 24, once those details are confirmed for the fixture, so the exact sort of day and time of that game, which I think was meant to happen this week sometime. Once again, it could be one of those things that by the time people hear this, it's all confirmed. We're going to get some things moving for a watch party at EB by Hiker for that Collingwood game. So stay tuned for that one. Of course, EB by Hiker giving you your weekly winners, and overall winner is going to win a grand final watch party worth $790. Pains me to say this, but this week's weekly winner, who's won themselves 300 waypoints thanks to EB by Hiker, looks like a Richmond fan. Joanne B, Tigger2 is their username. Got all 9 this week, so well done.
Nice.
Get in touch. We'll make sure we get your prize to you. I got 6 this week. Lost out on the Crows. Why did I tip Melbourne? Probably because of the Holmes and Cameron injuries.
Because they hadn't lost to the MCG.
And GWS.
I mean, to me, the Adelaide game was an absolute choke and a half, and the Melbourne game was just like they got spooked, like a possum in the night. Adelaide sucked in. They get what they deserve when their crowd are going to carry on like that. And somehow you've turned Collingwood into more palatable.
Yeah.
Again. So sucked in. Melbourne, yeah, they couldn't do it, and Geelong are not all that at the moment. So I had a horrible week, 5, because I tipped GWS and I also tipped North Melbourne. And I stand with that North Melbourne tip because they probably should have done better, but they didn't.
Yeah, they got nazzed. Not the first team to get nazzed, and they won't be the last either.
Well, I can't wait till he gets 2 Brownlow votes for that one.
So, yes, round 21, Collingwood and the Cats at the MCG. This is going to be a huge game. Collingwood are on an absolute heater at the moment.
They are. It is very weird because, yeah, they're really getting the most out of what they've got.
I hate to say it because I can't stand the bloke, but Craig McRae can coach, can't he?
Maybe. Sure.
Yeah. Having said that, Cats.
I tip the Cats too.
Yeah, I'm only tipping them by a goal. Freo to beat the Dogs at Optus.
I think Freo are going to win, but I think that the Bulldogs could sneak this somehow. But I'm obviously
it is the sort of well, yeah, maybe.
I'm going to tip the Bulldogs because basically I've thrown caution to the wind in this tipping competition where there's no way I can catch our leader, a divine leader, Hayden.
Yeah.
So you got to try and do some weird stuff.
Sydney, St Kilda, Sydney, Hawthorn to beat North. Port GWS could be a fun one. And by that, I mean there's no way I'm going to watch that game of footy. Largely
no, but this is exactly the
ours.
sort of game that Port Adelaide will win because GWS can't beat bottom half teams.
Mm.
Port Adelaide.
Port?
Yeah.
At Adelaide Oval, God. I'm going to go the Giants.
I mean, there's no confidence here.
No. We'll beat Carlton. West Coast should beat Richmond. Melbourne to beat the Suns. And Adelaide to beat Essendon.
Wow.
There's a couple of 50-50s there. So that GWS Port and even West Coast Richmond could be a little bit funky. Everything else... And Collingwood Geelong, actually. That is going to be a good game.
Yeah, interesting round. Some good games.
Yeah, very much so.
Beautiful.
All right, let's get to some questions. Thanks to Chris Marketing. chriscomms.co is the website if you need any marketing. This is from Secondhand on the Discord. Is Wash contender for All Australian? Do you think he could win a Brownlow? My answer to both those questions is probably not this year. He's left his run a little bit late. His last 6 weeks have obviously been exceptional, and he's shot up in the coaches' votes. I think All-Australian is probably... He might get squad. But I don't think there's any way he makes the 22, 23, the end of it. And yeah, he could definitely...
There are far too many midfielders having like good seasons.
Yeah.
And I think we'll take those places, and in a consistency sense, not so much a flashy thing, but go on.
I think he obviously can win a Brownlow across his career. Again, not this year. His first 12 weeks were pretty, not quiet, but I don't know that he's going to be polling many votes. I'd get there.
Yeah. Like, I think it's early for that, and also we're not funneling everything through him. Yeah. So it makes it different from certain other players. And that's kind of the reality of what the Brownlow sort of is, with the exception of Gold Coast last year, where they were funneling it to 2 players that were confused. So, and it was just sort of, they were probably rolling dice, the umpires, after the game to vote on either Rowell or Anderson. So I think not this year, and I think the team makeup will have to change a fair bit. So,
yeah. I did get a question.
In terms of, go on.
No.
I think in terms of All-Australian squad, there's just, they're going to put guys like Cozzy Pickett in the midfield. They're going to put like Butters will be there somehow, and like Naz will be there, and Daycott. Like there are players that Bontempelli, they'll put Holmes and Bailey Smith there, even though they can't kick. Like there are players they will put in the team.
Yeah.
And most of them are not like Sarong will be there. Andrew Brayshaw will be there. They'll probably put Harley Reid in there. Like, that's just what they do.
There's a question about the team makeup. Should we rest Logan? I think we did sort of like cover that. And that was sort of off the back of maybe to get Oscar Allen in the team. Probably not. We sort of discussed the changes that we thought we'd make.
We need to win. Well, we need to win all of the games.
Yep.
So that's kind of more important, is that we need to win our games to put ourselves in the best position leading into finals. Let me know when we're finished with questions, because I have a question for you.
One more to go, and this came last week. If you were a neutral supporter, now I need you to try and think about that, neutral supporter, and someone forced you to bet your house on the grand final, would you pick Fremantle or Brisbane, assuming the odds are even?
Like they're playing in the grand final?
Yeah. So it's a grand final. It's Brisbane v Freo. You have to pick one.
Brisbane, obviously.
Assuming you're a neutral supporter.
They've won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Like they've won on the biggest stage. Fremantle haven't ever. I'm obviously not neutral though.
Yeah. It's a tough one
if you gave me 2 houses and said I could bet one each way, and somehow, I know this is not how gambling works, but if you said I had to bet one on both, I would try not to on Fremantle. I don't know.
It's a tough one. It's basically a question of, like, obviously they're the best team at the moment. They're 3 games clear on top, and basically dismantling whoever's put in front of them, bar a couple. But the finals experience, and especially grand finals experience, definitely plays in Brisbane's hands. So, yeah, interesting. I don't know that they're going to do an Adelaide of last year and get smacked out in straight sets. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll win a final.
Let me ask you a question. Would you prefer to finish 3rd or 4th? Because the rhetoric around at the moment is teams are trying not to finish 4th.
Yeah, no, I want to look at them. Like last year when we got, our pants pulled down by the Cats. I want to look at them.
A look at us, or a look
at Freo? Yeah.
Yeah. So my thoughts are, I would much rather finish 4th, because I would rather play them in the first final.
Yeah.
Because you're traveling to Perth.
Yep.
I don't want to I don't necessarily wish to travel to Perth potentially in a prelim final, because it's generally the week after that you get that hangover.
Yeah.
And with the potential, we've got a generally good record, like pretty good record against Fremantle over there. We've lost a couple games. We've won a couple quite important games. And I want the reward to be a week off to play them, whereas, and you could, I don't know. I have a funny feeling about it. I feel like playing them in the first final is just more preferable than potentially playing them in a prelim over there. And I mean, how good would it be to then host a prelim?
Be pretty good
on the other side. So yeah, just the travel, going to Perth, having a week off, even if you go over there and they don't get the job done, and then they have to come back to Brisbane to play whomever is dealing with the fucking nightmare mess below. You're not traveling. So to me, I think it's the most convenient way.
Yeah.
Can you tool that? Well, God, no. You can't. But it does kind of give us a potential L in the bank. So
yeah, I guess it's just that game we've got against Hawthorn in a couple of weeks may determine it, really. Who finishes 3rd and who finishes 4th.
But I think the thing is, it's more the risk of dropping out of the top 4 is lessened, I suppose, by some of the results. But it does mean we do need to win at least one of the Collingwood or Hawthorn games. So, but if we finish 3rd, I don't care either. Like, we have proven that we can beat anyone, anywhere, anytime. And we need to really defer to that in terms of a mentality thing. So, yes. So let's have a look at them.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, you had a question?
That was my question.
Ah, okay. Never mind. All right, well...
It was my question from me to you.
stuff. Before we finish up, brief Chook Chat update. Got very sunburnt at the Chook Pen on Saturday morning as we took on Redcliffe. Redcliffe were very, very tough. Having said that, we beat them.
The rumours weren't true, though, were they? The rumours weren't true. You didn't get belted by 213 points.
No, that was the reserves. They had a tough day. Also in the sun. No, we won 132 to 25 or something like that. But we were not, like, it felt a lot closer than that. A lot closer than that. Redcliffe were very, very tough. Very strong tackling team. But got the win, so that's good. Next game out in Jimboomba in a couple of weeks' time. So, speaking of away trips.
Didn't you already played in Jimboomba this year?
No, well, they came to us. Now it's our turn to go to them.
Oh, Jimboomba.
Yeah.
I've been there once.
I like Jimboomba. It's a great place. So I'll be out at Glen Logan Park in a couple of weeks' time.
Beautiful stuff. Nothing to report on my end.
That's good.
So, yeah. He's happy. Not causing a ruckus.
No, he's just chilling out.
Yep. First time for everything.
Don't forget the AFLW tipping competition is up and about as well. The code for that one, I'm going to read this out and everyone just is going to remember it because that's obviously how this is going to work. So I'm just going to pad here for a quick second.
Do you want to copy and paste it to me and I will read it in the NATO phonetic alphabet?
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
It is QORE2 AMF. QORE2 AMF.
So Core 2 AMF bowling.
Yep.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Love that. Now, so we are playing Carltonius.
Yep.
Down in the Marvel.
Yep.
They're a weird team.
They are a weird
Carlton.
team.
It's hard to get a bit of a gauge because they've beaten a lot of teams they should have beaten, and then they lost to a team that they probably should have been belted by and got belted by them. But what are they doing?
It's an interesting question. Waitering's still out. Harry Mackay was a test last week, so maybe he'll be back into the team. Tuesday's injury day, so I guess we'll find out. Other than that, they're not missing too many other big names. Motlop, Matt Carroll is a pretty consistent player for them. But yeah.
Frankie Evans will be there, unfortunately not wearing goggles, which was really fun for like a week.
I miss goggled Frankie.
It was fun. It kind of reminded me of that guy that used to play for Port Adelaide with the one leg sleeve. Like the because he had some septic infection in his knee, which actually is horrible.
Yeah. Very.
The Hollandses, only one of them?
Yeah.
Yep. Cottrell. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, just win the game. Just win the game.
Yeah, win the game, play well. Win your contests and go forward and think of bigger and better lands against Hawthorn.
And I'm sure they will.